Are you getting mad or upset that you're not quite getting what you want in life? You're not quite manifesting what it is that you want in life? Let's talk about that today. So my name is Dustin from Manifestation Academy, and I want to share with you an idea that I've had from different experiences and from my life when manifesting. And what it is that, let's say you get this idea or this vision or this thing of who you could become or this desire of who you could become, but it's not happening for you yet, right? So what I have found is that God or our souls or our higher selves, their job is to help remind us and give us the idea and the vision of who we can be, who our soul can really manifest and express itself in this world. But it's our job to bring that to life. And I think what I do sometimes, or I used to, is I would get this idea or vision, and I was like, okay, first of all, it's terrifying sometimes when you get those ideas of who you could be. But it's their job essentially to help remind us, but it doesn't just happen. So I've gotten ideas or things that like I could be or accomplish, and I'm like, that's really scary. I don't really want to go that route. And I'll kind of ignore it or dismiss it from my mind. But then I'll kind of wait and see if I'm ever going to get pulled to it. And sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get the idea once, and I don't get pulled to it. And I get confused. I'm like, well, if I was supposed to be or do that thing, how come you didn't come knocking and tell me more often or push me to do it? And that's not their job. Their job is to tell you, to give you the idea and the vision, or at least make it available for you to access, right? Maybe not have to tell you, but at least make it available, and then we go find it. But it's our job to bring it to life. It's our job to pursue it. And I've never seen anybody who had a sort of vision of who they could become, or sort of idea, or some sort of impact that they made that didn't terrify them, that wasn't scary. And there's a reason for that. It's a very logical, easy to understand reason. And that reason comes to identity. Okay, so let's say you have a certain identity, okay? And that's leading to a certain outcome, right? So who you are, that what you think, believe, act, behave is based on your identity, and that leads to this outcome. Then all of a sudden you get this vision, this belief of this. Oh, you could be this, you could be making this impact, right? It's scary because it's not in alignment with who we think we are. So what our job is to shift our identity to this side. And if we can shift our identity to this, then our thoughts, actions will be in alignment to manifesting this result. So that is how we bring the vision to life. So again, God, the universe, our higher self, whatever you want to call it, they make the idea accessible up here. It's our job to create the space in our mind to go find it. If you're sitting there scrolling on social media all day, or if you are not giving your time for silence and boredom, going on walks and just thinking or meditating, it's going to be harder to figure out what you want to do because your mind is too busy. It's too filled up. They can't just come and tell you. You're literally blocking it by remaining distracted. It's when you're quiet and listening and empty that you'll start to be able to have that connection and gain that access. So it's when you go within and start talking, creating that relationship, you'll be able to gain that access. So once you gain the access and you get the idea, it's terrifying, right? Job is to shift your identity to become this, and so you can now think, act, behave, and accomplish and fulfill this thing. So it's normal, by the way, to be scared. If you read actually many of the great saints, great prophets, they were all scared. Moses was terrified of it. When he was told, he got this vision and this insight, he was told to leave, he was terrified. He said, why me? Why am I supposed to be the one to do that? Muhammad the same way. When he was age 40, he had this vision from the archangel of who he could be and what he was supposed to do with his life, and it terrified him. He got scared. There's the story of Jonah, who had this vision of who he could be, and he was terrified of it. He ran away. And there's a story of the fish where all of a sudden there was a storm in the sea, and he knew this was basically God calling him back to do his mission. So he ended up accepting it and going back and doing his mission. So if these guys, the founder of these religions, were terrified, also you're probably going to be terrified. It's part of the normal experience, and I just showed you why. Because it's a different. We need to shift our identity. So how do you shift your identity and fulfill upon the mission? It always comes down to three things, in my opinion. And I say this in my other videos, but you got to learn. So whatever it is, if it's like, oh, I could be, help in this spiritual way, if I could help with this community, if I could help bring people together in this way, right? Learn how other people do it. There's so many books, maybe not for that specific thing, but how to do it, how to make an impact, to learn what it takes to be successful, to make an impact, to organize, to lead, to get your message out there, right? Then take action. Learn how, then act upon it, and then shape your identity. Oh my God, I'm writing all crazy. Shape your identity, sorry for the bad handwriting, so you believe you are and can become that who can manifest and bring these things. So again, this is very well documented too. What do a lot of Olympic athletes do, celebrities, actors, actresses? Visualize, use affirmations, program the mindset in order to align yourself with these things so you become that which you want to become. But what it ultimately starts with is you making a decision. You have to decide to do it. Even though it's scary, you have to decide to do it. But that's part of it. Look, it's always scary. And just know, again, I have to shift my identity. Can I at least just start taking steps toward it? Sometimes you're here and you're given the big, grand vision, like the end result. And it's scary. But look, it may take 20 years, 30 years, 10 years to get there, right? There's plenty of time to make the shift. If you're given the vision, there's plenty of time to do it. You're never given anything you can't handle. You're always given all the resources you need to accomplish and fulfill on that. It's a promise made by God, a promise made from the divine. And you're given time to do it too, but you got to start moving on it, right? And if you look at where you are now, and if I go back 10 years, if you look at where you were 10 years ago and say, in 10 years from now, I'm doing this, I'm being this, you might think there's no friggin' way. You might think there's no friggin' way. If I look back to who I was 10 years ago and say, in 10 years from now, you're going to be this, I would say there's no way. But now because there's this natural evolution, it's almost like, well, yeah, that's natural. But 10 years ago, I didn't think that. Who you are here, you're capped. This is who I think I could be. But through time, through action, through learning, this grows and expands. And eventually, you just, like I said, you move the identity over and you become aligned with it. So, I kind of drew it as a horizontal, like become the identity and then you'll do it. Really, it's actually like a squiggly line like this, but that's how you slowly move the identity and you also manifest the results here. Don't know if that's a greatest drawing, but it's essentially like diagonal with a bunch of squiggles in between of shaping the identity to become that which you want to become. So the key though is, there's one key, it's deciding and it's starting. Let me go read a book about this. That's not too harmful. That's not too scary. Let me go read a book. Okay. Learn about this thing. Learn something that this guy went through, this girl went through, this person went through. Let me go read another book. Okay. Oh, let me Google. Oh, it turns out there's an organization that can help. That's helping this. Why don't I email them, see how I can volunteer and get involved? Whatever it is, you just slowly start to take the steps, and then you gain the confidence, and then you start to get this veil like lifted, and you're like, oh, the universe, God, my higher self really saw the other side. They could already see it. I couldn't, because in a human mind, which is not designed for that, I couldn't. But as I slowly took the steps, that veil was lifted, and I could start to come to the other side. I could start to see the other side, and I could start to see it was real. Not only was it real, it's like, yeah, I was actually meant for this. I love it. It's natural. I don't love maybe every component of it. I don't love the fear part of it, but it's like a natural thing for me to do. I'm very good. I'm almost more comfortable doing this thing than doing the other thing. So I think that will be true. All you got to do is start taking steps toward it. Learning, start taking action, visualize, affirm, visualize it and move toward it. So I hope this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments below what you think. And like this video, subscribe to our channel. Talk to you soon.